Hello everyone, welcome to TestFlex 2023. I'm Dimpy, working as Quality Analyst at ThoughtWorks. The primary focus of this presentation, beyond a callback webhook testing for modern application, is to delve into the concept of webhooks and explore effective testing methodologies for the same. So why do we need webhook in the first place? Let's explore with some examples. Webhook can provide real-time notification for inventory updates in an e-commerce application, which is very challenging because as a merchant, you may not know when the inventory is actually updated, like, new items getting added or existing item has been removed. A webhook actually can solve this problem very easily. In a typical healthcare system, they enable real-time connections between different departments like pharmacy, billing, laboratory, right? The lab system can send a notification to the billing department for processing the billing, right? So when the medicines are ready and only payment needs to be done, then the pharmacy department can send a notification to the billing department. In the payment service industry, ATM, Google Pay, which we very frequently use nowadays, right? So they deliver payment notification to calling applications in real time, indicating success or failure. And Webhook also empowers, automation of marketing campaigns, right? So we can create personalized campaigns using data from users' social media handles. What is a webhook? Webhook is a user-specified HTTP callback that gets triggered by some event to connect and share data between two applications. You can relate it as a way for one application to call or notify another application when something important happens, right? So enabling them to communicate and share information seamlessly. If you see in this diagram, there's a source app and there's a destination app. And based on an event in the source app, it sends, right, a payload, or you can say some data, right, to the destination app on a predefined webhook URL. So what is the difference between traditional polling versus webhook? The request origin is from the client in the polling, but it is originated from the server in the webhook. So the trigger is actually client. You can say it is a client initiated in the polling, but server initiated in the webhook. And the frequency is scheduled or continuous in polling because client needs to continuously ask the server for data. But in webhook, it is event driven. Client doesn't need to again and again ask for the data. Once the event is triggered, client should be notified by the server. So that's the reason why it is webhook is more efficient and more scalable as compared to polling. We'll be seeing a weather notification webhook demo. So user can subscribe to receive a weather update for a specific city. And when the weather condition match their preferences, a webhook is sent to the user's registered endpoint. As a prerequisite, we need Python and curl. To sender.python file, which is mainly responsible for sending the webhook notification, and receiver.python file, it will actually wait or listen for incoming notification, and based on the notification, it will perform some action. We'll be using a curl command to simulate the entire process. So this is the sender.python file. So we are mocking the weather data. We have added a function to send a webhook to the user's registered endpoint. And then we have a simulator to simulate the weather update. This simulate weather update endpoint will take the city and the weather condition. And if that city and the weather condition is present in this code, like, it should be either city 1, city 2, and city 3, and sunny, rainy, and cloudy, then it will trigger that response to the registered receiver, basically. And currently we are just printing a message in the console. If I go to the receiver code, again, this is a very simple code. like we have a receive weather notification endpoint, and once the notification has been received, we can see a print message in the console. Let's start these two processes. First, we'll start the sender process. Then we'll be starting the receiver process. Both are running. And now we are going to start the simulation. So we have simulated, and you can see in the receiver window that it received a weather notification for city 1. What will happen if we send a notification which user has not subscribed for? We're going to change the city. But you can see this time we have not received anything because we have changed the city to city 5. And since city 5 is not part of the implementation, so we have not received anything. Let's explore some of the common challenges in Webhook. First one is related to configurations. Before we configure any webhook, we need to whitelist the IP of the receiving party. Incorrect URL or payload format can lead to failures in webhook. Token expiry, once the token expires, webhook may fail to send a notification until we refresh the token or initiate the token again. Incorrect credentials, incorrect tokens can lead to webhook failures. Wrong event association, like by mistake, suppose somebody has configured a update event instead of create event for a create functionality, right? Although you get a notification, but that will be wrong. Incorrect rate limiting, suppose you have configured the rate limit number incorrectly. As soon as the rate limit is hit, the webhook will stop working. Contracts change, right? So since webhooks will be part of a third party always, so contract is very important. As soon as contract changed, the webhook response will abruptly fail. Suppose you are looking for a specific parameters and those parameters are not present in the response. Missing data, right? So can lead to a failure. Invalid data, right? So suppose you are looking for some date time data and it is coming in a different time zone format, that may lead to failure in your application. Another aspect is error handling. Unhandled errors can lead to failures in the webhook. No retry mechanism. Suppose the webhook is failed and there's no retry, no error notification. Something went wrong, but there is no notification sent by the sender application. So how we are going to identify what is the cause of the issue? Performance, another important aspect. If the webhook endpoint is slow to process a webhook request, this can lead to delays in the delivery of the webhook notification or the execution of the webhook actions. Timeout error. If the webhook endpoint does not respond to webhook requests within a certain amount of time, the webhook request may timeout. Resource overload, right? If the webhook endpoint is overloaded with webhook requests, it may run out of resources, right? Server resources. Scalability issue. If the webhook endpoint is not scalable, it may not be able to handle high volume of webhook requests. Suppose your application, expect very high volume for a particular time of the year, like Christmas sale. Security. So you can face issues like unauthorized access, right? If your webhook is not properly authenticated, unauthorized user may be able to send requests to the webhook endpoint. This could allow them to trigger actions that they should not be able to perform, right? Such like deletion of data or changing some settings. Data breaches, repay attack, DOS attack. Attacker could send large volume of webhook requests to the webhook endpoint in order to overload it and make it unavailable for a particular time period. Let's see some challenges from the resilience point of view. First one is availability. If the source system is down, webhook cannot be sent. If the destination system is down, webhook cannot be processed. Idempotence. If a webhook request is processed multiple times, due to a retry mechanism, the destination system may perform the same action multiple times. That can lead to a failure, right? Depending on the requirement. External dependence is very important. If the source or destination system relies on other systems such as database, payment processors, and those systems are unavailable or not working properly, the webhook may fail. Async communication. If a webhook request is sent to a destination system, due to the destination system does not respond in a timely manner, the webhook may time out. Network failures. Compliance challenges. First one is data privacy issues. Data privacy regulations such as GDPR requires organizations to protect the privacy of personal data. Let's discuss the testing strategy now. I'll start with the functional testing. First important point is testing the whole configuration, as we mentioned in the previous slides, like your IP whitelisting, configuring the webhook URLs, the parameters, the tokens, authorization, everything should be tested as part of functional testing. Error handling should be a part of your functional test strategy, like identification of all needed errors. If integration testing is must, because if you see webhook sits in between two applications, so all your integration interfaces should be tested. We can do both, like repository level integration testing, code level integration testing, as well as end-to-end integration testing. And as we know, like code level integration testing, you may use mocks. And one more important thing I want to highlight here is like testing the async nature of the application, right? So how we can automate it basically. So that can be automated in a simulated way, as I have shown in the demo, so that at least the basic business functionality and the integration contracts can be verified. Next thing is the end-to-end user journey test, where the entire workflow should be verified. Next, we are going to discuss about reliability testing. Simulating the failures in the webhook infrastructure and verifying that the webhook can continue to operate. This may involve simulating the network failures, server failures, database failures, etc. Testing the webhook infrastructure to ensure that it can handle high volume of requests and that it is resilient to failure. Testing the retry mechanism, verifying that the webhook retry mechanism will work correctly and it is able to successfully retry failed requests basically. Monitoring, yes, monitoring a webhook activities to identify and resolve any reliability issues that may occur. This may involve logging and alerting on webhook errors, checking the performance metrics, dashboards. Next is contract testing. In contract testing, we generally validate the payload and schema. We validate all the mandatory parameters, the structure of each parameter, what we are expecting, the data types of each parameters, right? Consumer and provider driven contract test, because again, webhook sits in between two applications, so it's very important that we do a bi-directional contract testing. Then PCI and PII compliance, verifying that webhooks handle financial or perform personal information meet security and compliance standards. Yes, ensuring the webhook endpoints are secure through comprehensive assessment that includes checking against the top 10 vulnerabilities. And then we can also simulate attacks to identify and address potential security weaknesses. We can perform load testing, stress testing, volume testing as per our need and requirement. Load testing evaluates the performance of the webhook system by simulating typical user traffic to determine how well it handles expected load, ensuring it remains responsive and functional under normal conditions. Stress testing assesses the webhook system's ability to operate under extreme conditions by applying loads beyond the design limit. And volume testing, as the name suggests, focus on assessing the webhook's scalability to examine its performance as the data volume increases, ensuring it can handle large amount of data without degrading its functionality or responsiveness. With that, we came to the end of this presentation. Thank you so much for being with me. Bye-bye.